Hello, everybody. Spirit 420 here because everything I do is so 420. What a week, what a day. I don't even know where to begin. So, first of all, I'll say this. Happy Wednesday to everybody. It's 4/19. Has anybody got a day? Tomorrow is our holiday. Oh, that coffee is hot. Tomorrow is our holidays. I should say. Tomorrow is one of two of our cannabis holidays. Our other one comes in July. That's 7/10 for all you concentrated motherfuckers out there like myself. Yeah, I am shaking a little bit. As I get older, this just it doesn't get any better. It only gets shakier. So, even though tomorrow is a wonderful holiday, you know, our country, we've always had dark days, you know. And tonight I'm actually going to talk about one of them because it is, by no coincidence, today is the 30-year anniversary of the Waco Siege or Waco Massacre, whichever one you prefer to call it. I want to talk about not only the I'm going to talk about the docuseries that was just released. I'm also going to talk about a few other films and documentaries that have been released over the years, books as well. And I also want to just talk about the events themselves. This has always hit me very hard because it's not just one of our darkest days, but I was at the time 21 years old. And this was, an eye-opener. In our entire history, the only other siege that we've had that even compares to this is the siege that started the Civil War, or was part of the Civil War, I should say. And this was a 51-day siege on our own soil, and a lot of people died. 86 people died, including 28 children and 4 ATF officers. It started with the 4 ATF officers, as well as I think it was 4 or 5 Branch Davidians as well died in the initial. I don't know how many of you know, but the initial firefight that went on between them lasted almost 45-50 minutes. I was listening to the documentary, and they were talking to. I suggest you watch it, okay? But they were talking to the criminal defense attorney who was brought in to represent David Koresh. And this guy's comment, I thought was it really, what's the word? It just hit me hard because he said as he was walking up. Now, by the time he got into it, by the time the attorney was involved, they had already had a gunfight and they now had a siege. The FBI was moved in and had the place under siege. And he was really part of a negotiation tactic to try to get David to come out peacefully with all these Branch Davidians. Well, when he was talking the first time that he was on the documentary, he was like, yeah, man, it was really crazy because they took him up to the front of the building, and then he had to walk to the front door of Mount Carmel. Their literally fortress has a sniper tower in the middle. And he said as he was walking, the ground was literally covered. You couldn't see the ground anymore. It was covered with shell casings. I don't know. I know some of the guys that watch me know how many rounds had to be fired to literally cover the ground with shell casings to where all you see is shell casings. But you're talking about 45-50 minutes of just constant gunfire from the Branch Davidians inside, as well as all the ATF guys outside. Now, not only have I watched the documentary that just came out, but there was a mini series. I can't remember the guy's name right now, but it was the dude that played John Carter. I'm sure all y'all remember John Carter, right? But the guy that played him played David Koresh, and they had a lot of other stars too. And the story, that was when I really kind of woke up to it when I watched that. And that wasn't that long ago. I think it was 2019 when that came out. And it dealt with the fact that just before this, there had been a similar siege. I think it was Ruby something. I'll have to look it up. For the life of me now, can't remember what the other one was. But the reality is, how do so come back to it? When I watched this, I knew about what I had learned over the years, and through what's funny is I had heard about the Branch Davidians through other documentaries that were not focused on Waco, but focused on cults, right? So the first time I watched the movie, it was a real awakening because it was the movie, the miniseries that they did on television. They based it on multiple books. One book by a Branch Davidian by the name of David Thibodeau, and then another book by, I believe it was Gary, what's his name, Noesner, whatever his name is. You'll watch the documentary and you'll know. He's actually in the credits. If you look in the description, he's one of the credited people that was in the documentary as well. They both wrote books. In fact, both the guys that wrote books were in this documentary as well. But I say that because any good documentary is going to try to show both sides, right? And one thing that was impressive about the miniseries that came out a while back was they, too, attempted to show both sides. Now, for those of you that don't know, there is a huge amount of controversy around the final day. Let me start over. There is a huge amount of controversy over the 51 days of siege, but it gets very, 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 very tricky right there at the end because Reno, who was I believe, Secretary of State, right? I think that's whatever it's called. She gave permission, or she gave the order, to tear gas them. And that was based on information that she had been told that there was child abuse and sexual abuse going on to children. And that's why she finally did it. Now, what's funny is this woman today, last I heard, and even in the documentary, she still, if she could do it over, she would not make the same decision. Now, when you really investigate this Waco thing, the place went up in flames. And the morning of April 19th, 1993, they called the Davidians and said, hey, we're going to put tear gas in there. This is not an attack, right? But we're going to tear gas you. Well, they did it with tanks and very violently. Let's just put it that way. It was done very violently. They attached these big boom arms that literally pushed through the walls of their compound and fired tear gas into the compound. Now, here's the fucked up part. There is tape, because obviously this is a place under siege. They've been there for 51 days. They're spending $1 million a week for this campaign, right? They have microphones on the Davidians. They're listening, and they have it on tape, where the Davidians, this is the controversial part, is who started the fire, because it came out that the canisters that were used, the tear gas canisters, did have the ability to combust and become flammable. At the same time, there is tape and there is videotape. So there's audio tape of the Davidians talking about pouring this type of fuel. I can't remember the name of fuel, but you watch the documentary. But they're talking about, there's no more fuel and you have to get it everywhere, all this. 3 simultaneous fires started at the same time. Now, I bring all that up because this is the part that's always gotten me. This David Koresh guy was definitely had some issues. Okay, I'm not even going to say that he didn't. But the reason they had been stockpiling guns, which is how this all happened, the ATF caught wind of the automatic weaponry that they had and that they were turning semi-automatic weapons into fully automatic, and they were stockpiling guns, grenades, and other things. Koresh had taken over this cult years prior And what he had been teaching them and preparing them for is that the American government one day would show up at their doorstep and see, as a siege and take them down. And so they were stockpiling these guns for this very fucking day. I don't know how many of y'all know that, but that right there, it really bothers me. There's this big debate going on about God, right? This guy literally, if you read about it and you understand and you talk to the witnesses, the Davidians that did survive, exactly what happened is almost verbatim. He said that the government would siege them and they would die in a burning, they would die in a fire and ascend to heaven. That was what he had been teaching them. So I ask you, regardless of how messed up this dude is, and I'm not saying that he didn't have problems. He did. It's clearly obvious that he committed statutory rape. He was also a polygamist in Texas. So, there's that. He forced people to have their marriages annulled when they came into the Davidians, and their wives would sleep only with David. And he was attempting to make 24 children based on the 7 seals, if you know the book of the 7 seals. So that's him in a nutshell. But let's say all this is happening, right? And you believe it, or you're listening to it, I should say. And all of a sudden the government shows up on your doorstep, literally doing what this guy's been preparing you for. I don't know, man. That it sends chills down my spine. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. So to me, this whole Waco thing was, in essence, a wake-up call. And what I mean by that is for both sides, really. I don't take either side on either. And what do I mean? How do I put that? There was mistakes made on both sides. And I think that there was a lot of good men that were involved in the hostage negotiations. There was a lot of good men on the tactical unit that excuse me. Oh, wow, that's one of those tickle hits. I didn't know it was going to happen. The Branch Davidians were ultimately good people trying to live a righteous life. There were good people on both sides. The wake-up call to me is not, it's a wake-up call again on both sides. And what I mean by that is there has to be better communication, and there has to be a different way of handling these things when you have, like this guy, a fanatic, that everything that he said to them is now coming true. So when that happens, wouldn't you absolutely believe him? Right? And then you have guys, and this is a fact, but the tactical team and the negotiators were not on the same boat. That is a problem. That is where the biggest problem, in my opinion, on the government side is that they were not communicating and moving in sequential steps, right? They disagreed with many of the things the other side was doing. The tactical guys disagreed with many of the negotiation, their tactics, and the negotiation guys totally disagreed with many of the tactics of the tactical team. And it ended exactly how this guy predicted it. Now, granted, I do in my heart believe, based on all the evidence and everything I've seen, I do believe that the Davidians lit the fire because that's what he said. And he was pretty determined that they were not going to be taken by America. If they had come out, they would have all spent just years in prison. That's it, right? There would have been a discussion about it because it still would have been a siege if they came out, but it wouldn't have been what it is today. They would have done time, and then we probably would have heard their stories about all, whatever. But it didn't go down that way. And a lot of people don't know, but Koresh's right-hand man was named Steve Schneider. He shot Koresh in the head, and then he shot himself in the head just before the place continued to burn up. But what is bothersome, the part that bothers me the most, that really just gets me, is the kids, the kids. And it seems like, and I get it though, I mean, he truly believed. And that's one thing that everybody who's ever met him or talked to him or dealt with David, regardless of whatever he was, he believed in what he said. So if you truly believe that you're a second coming of a Messiah, then you would not give your children to what you think is kind of the Antichrist in a way, or at least a vision of it, or extension of it, if you will, right? You're not going to give your kids up to that. You're going to take them to heaven with you. I know it's not the most uplifting topic, but to me it has to be discussed, because it didn't stop there. And a lot of people don't know this. I only recently found out about this, or was made aware, but and his name is Timothy McVeigh. I can never remember the last name. I knew the first name. Timothy McVeigh, everybody probably remembers that name, but that is the Oklahoma City bomber. Today is also the 28th anniversary. So in 2 years, it'll be 30, but today is the 28th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing. And that is by no coincidence. Timothy McVeigh, whatever the fucking, however you pronounce it, was at Waco. He was passing out anti-government propaganda, arm yourselves, that kind of stuff. The far right, extreme, arm yourself for a apocalyptic ending. He was there at Waco, right? And it was there was people from Waco. I'm almost positive. Some of the men that worked for the government at Waco were at the bomb, and it's by no coincidence that it was the same day, right? This was the Oklahoma City bombing was partially a direct, reaction, but that's not the word I was looking for. Retaliation. It was in part retaliation for what happened at Waco. And here's a guy and it bothers me, I mean, I get people want to make points and they want to be heard, but there's a better way, in my opinion, than killing innocent people. And I know nobody's innocent. I know that. But those people were innocent in the sense that all they did was go to work and their kids were coming to the daycare, right? At Oklahoma City, 168 people died with 18 children. So because one place does it, it's been the law of our land, right? An eye for an eye. You hurt me, I'll hurt you. You kill someone, I kill someone. It doesn't get us anywhere. I say that, and I think lots of times about the fact that I'm doing this, even, how do I say this and not come across the wrong way? But in a way, it's part of the reason why I don't completely share my views on everything, because you never know who you're going to piss off. You never know who, what you say, and it's just your opinion, but someone else has a drastically different opinion of that matter, enough to the point where they want to harm or even kill you. And all I can say is, I don't know what's going on anymore in our world, because we've had so many school shootings. We've had so many mass shootings. And I've heard so many different takes on it. But what I do know is it's not getting better. Excuse me. I apologize. That was disgustingly rude. It's not getting better. And people ask me why I homeschool. Part of the reason that I keep my kids in homeschool now, even beyond, and they were already in homeschool before the pandemic, just so you know. But, you know, why would I put them back into school? There's now the greatest chance in the history of America that my child in a public school could get shot. And here's the fucked up part about it. I really don't care who's doing it. I don't care what the theories are or what the reasons. It's happening. That's why, you know, you have more people staying in homes and being homebound than ever before in a day that we are more connected than ever. Why is that? Home is safe, right? You go out there, you really don't know what's going to happen. It's always been that the moment you walk out the door, you're taking your life in your own hands. And we all know that. You know, something could fall out of the sky and fucking squish you at any moment, even in your house. But the point is, people have never felt more fearful of being just out and about, going to school, going to work, going to I don't remember what that was, a club, this most recent one that just happened a couple days ago. I'm sorry. I only just heard about it and I've been very busy trying to get ready for the special tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, it's constant, you know. I hope that we end up figuring it out, but speaking from the heart on these type of things in the history of our country, unfortunately, it usually gets worse before it gets better. You know, kind of like what the doctor tells you every time you hurt yourself. It's going to get worse before it gets better. It's got to go a little deeper and get a little nastier before it can heal itself up. Really? Really? Can't you just sew it up now? And no. You know, one thing that humans have in common with everybody, no matter what state you're looking at, what country you're looking at, what area you're looking at, we learn things the hard way. We have to continually put our hand on the hot eye before we finally realize that we shouldn't put our hand on that hot eye. I say that as a country. I'm not saying that as individuals. Because I do try to believe, pardon you, I try my best to believe in the good of people and optimistic, but I also preach about the balance. So I'm a realist. And I realize that for the good, there also has to be the bad. You know, all you can really do is try to surround yourself with what you think are good people, you know, who are doing things for the right reasons, and hope that it's received the right way, if that makes sense. You know, I know for me, I know why, you know, just on a side note, I know why I'm doing all this, and I know why I'm going to continue to do it. And all I can say is people's actions speak louder than the words. I mean, look at what all we've talked about here. It's not words that has everybody remembering Waco. You know, although the documentary does deal with a lot of words. What I mean by that is they play a lot of the tapes and a lot of the conversations back and forth. But actions speak much louder than words. And the repetitive actions of our country, without trying to be rude to anybody, is that, you know, not just our country, like I said, it's all countries. We learn by mistake. That means we learn the hard way. It's almost inevitable that we have to do it wrong in order to find out the correct avenue. At least that's been in my experience. Does anybody else feel the same way? On a side note, or on a continued note from where I started, the docuseries was good. It did sensationalize things a little bit, and I didn't need that, but I enjoyed the interviews. Everybody that they interviewed was in one way, form, or fashion there on the scene or part of it at some point, right? And it was some things I hadn't seen before, so they did have some never before seen footage and some never before heard tapes, again, back and forth. So I will say that the guy, ultimately did a good job. It felt like he tried to give it from every point of view too, which makes a good, in this case, docuseries. Because if you just hear one person's opinion, that's it's like watching me just all the time, and nobody does that. Everybody watches different people. You get different opinions. You form your own. Collect the facts and form your own opinion. All I was really trying to bring to light tonight, and yes, I used Flickdick as the means to do it because it also lined up with it all just lined up, and everything happens for a reason. I believe that. It's no coincidence that I had this one on the books to investigate, and it is the 30-year anniversary, right before a day of celebration. And that's just part of this world. One day we're sad, one day we're happy. It is a balance. On that note, rating, I'll give it a 69. Yep, one off of a 70. It was not a must see in the sense that if it wasn't, I know it's not in the theaters, it's Netflix, so you don't have to pay for it. Just go fucking watch your subscription. But as a Netflix, a 69 is a must see on Netflix. Put it that way. It's worthy, and it's not even 3 hours long. So it's, considering each episode is less than an hour. It's just 3 episodes. On a side note, tomorrow is 420. Oh, I got to get some sleep tonight. I got to shave. Got to get ready. I already have. I know I'm going to be on for a while, so I already have all these bowls packed. And I'll be getting more bowls packed. Actually, I have to give the credit to my wife. She has been packing these bowls for me and helping me out. So, by the way, just to remind y'all, and I did shoot the video, so now it's just a matter of editing it. But this is going to be given away to one of the first 250 subscribers to the channel. All right. 2 people will wear. 2 people will win. We'll win t-shirts. Spirit of 420 t-shirts. One says dirty dabbing. Nobody puts butter in the corner. The other one says, I see your bong is as big as mine. And then there'll be 3 place winners. Stoned as fuck. Take Me to Your Dealer. And Alice in Wonderland. And those images will also be in the video. I'm hoping to have that done. It's just been very busy and trying to coordinate with all this stuff. So I was hoping to have that done before 420, but I'm also not. Don't get me wrong. I want subscribers. I really do. But I'm not. It's not my focus. My focus is to spread the message and do what I'm doing. And when I can get the other stuff done, I get it done. So, I started this stupid contest. It doesn't even matter. Anywho, I hope all y'all have a wonderful evening. Remember, tomorrow is going to be a 4-hour and 20-minute stream. Going to have a lot of surprises. Going to have a lot of guests. It's going to be a hell of a day. Expect at least 1 or 2 technical difficulties during a 4-hour and 20-minute live stream, considering I have so many guests and they're not all the, not everybody is as computer literate as you. Let's put it that way. So tomorrow is going to be a fantastic day. I haven't decided. Technically, I'm supposed to go on Friday, but if I'm just totally busted, I may not. If I do come on Friday, I can tell you this right now, it is going to be short. So I may just come on and tell you how much I love all of you and then maybe smoke a bowl and leave. Fair enough? Just a quick shout out. UGC will be here with me throughout the day tomorrow, and that is Urban Growers Collective on Discord. You can find their link in my description. Rob we'll be doing some special stuff, and that's all I'm going to tell you because I want to leave it as a surprise. Teratokes will be joining us. It's going to be, there's so many people. The Power Twins are going to be there. Brittany and Haley, who were surprise guests on the Smoke Challenge, are probably going to show up for some time. Harley, Lucky, just a bunch of people. So anyway, I hope you all have a blessed evening. I'm going to finish getting ready for 420 tomorrow so that everybody understands. I normally go on at 7:20. That is 9:20 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I'm starting at 2:20 Mountain Time, 4:20 p.m. Eastern, and going till 8:40 p.m., which is 6:40 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay. And for those who are out on the West Coast, just to give it to you real quick, starting at 1:20, going to 5:20. And then what am I missing? If you're in Central, starting at 3:20, going to 7:20. There we go. All right. Or 7:40. Sorry. It's always 4 hours and 20 minutes later. Anyway, you get it. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. I love all of y'all. You're awesome. You're a Belge. No, I'm just teasing. Each one of you are incredible, awesome people. Remember that. I mean that. I truly have come to learn that and believe that in my heart and soul. Know that in my heart and soul. So know that the reason you're different and not like anybody else, that is the piece that makes you incredibly special and a part of this very intricate puzzle. Have a wonderful day. Have a blessed evening, or have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed day tomorrow, and I'll see you at 420.
I switch here, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Throw my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish your day is swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.